Hey everyone, welcome back to the Low Buy Life. I am Leslie, and it is time for another budget with me where we'll look at my spending for February and my plans for March. So I realize that it's always kind of gloomy when I'm recording these, but I think it's because it's my work from home day, and I tend to pick days where it's especially like rainy or snowy or gross outside, so I don't have to go to the office. So I'm doing it to myself. Apparently, I am the problem here. But anyway, hopefully the weather will start getting better since we're getting into March. But for now, let's take a look at the budget. So for February, I did track everything. I just haven't looked at the final numbers just yet, so that'll be a surprise for me as well as you. So, okay. So for groceries, I did go a little bit over. I budgeted 675 and I spent 757, so that's a difference of $82. So I took some more detailed notes this time because I remember last time where I made my categories more broad, it was kind of hard for me to remember exactly what I spent some of my money on since the categories are kind of merged now. But for groceries, so I did buy some protein bars, some extra tea, and then my husband, I bought him a little bit of food also, so that's probably where that extra came from. I did buy, like, quite a bit of protein bars and snacks that I have stocked up right now, so I think that's gonna be where the difference is, but it's not too far over, so I'm not that concerned with it. Household, I budgeted 300 and spent 380, so again, a difference of $80. But I bought so much random household stuff. So under household, I do have my cleaner, so that's a good chunk of that money. My cleaner is like, um, the house cleaner is about $210 of that 380. Thought Pixel was gonna come in here and join me. So it is a good chunk of it, but I also had to restock paper towels. I bought this nasal steamer thing because I was having some issues with bronchitis, which if you've seen my past videos recently, you probably noticed or at least heard the difference in my voice. I also bought some more mason jars and lids because I like to make pickles, and I had to throw out one of my jars recently because it had a crack in it and the lids were starting to rust, which isn't good. So I bought some lids. I stocked up on batteries. I bought a few meal prep containers; those were cheap, and air fryer liners, which I don't necessarily like using the liners all the time. I tend to probably 50-50 for me, but I mostly buy them for my sister-in-law because she watches our daughter and she has to make her dinner, and I know she doesn't wanna be cleaning the air fryer, so a lot of that is for her, but I'm not gonna lie, I use them as well. But transportation, I actually came in under, which was a big surprise, so I budgeted 2,000 and I spent 1,764. So with transportation, so that included my insurance, and you guys, I am so excited. Okay, so I was really bummed out because my insurance, if you follow this channel for very long at all, and even if you haven't, you might have seen thumbnails where I had 2 car accidents last year. I was not driving for either of them, which really it's okay. I'm not gonna get into all of that. But anyway, I did have 2 car accidents last year. One was technically at fault and one was not at fault. And my insurance company, Allstate, dropped me because I had 2 accidents in a year. I guess because one of those was considered at fault, I'm not sure. But the not at fault one, a drunk driver hit my parked car. So I don't know how I possibly could have avoided that. Yeah, that made me really mad, but I was super upset because I'm like, if they drop you, usually you get flagged as, like, high risk or something like that, so I was freaking out, worrying that I wasn't gonna be able to find another insurance company or that I'd have to pay, like, twice as much, and I was just completely spiraling, and finally, I looked into a few insurance companies, and I ended up going with NJM here in New Jersey. I think they cover Pennsylvania too, but anyway, I went with them. I ended up paying for a full year for pretty much the same price as 6 months with Allstate, so I cut my insurance bill in half. So it ended up actually completely working out, and I freaked out for nothing. So I did pay for an entire year of insurance. I'm so excited because I always wanted to pay for a full year. I don't like doing 6 months. I'd rather just pay for the whole year, but Allstate didn't do that. So yeah, so that actually worked out really well. And then I did start doing my Easy Pass for work, as I mentioned, I think in the last video, where I'm going to start taking the toll roads now. It's just safer. There's less traffic. I get home a little bit sooner, and I think I'm really happy with the decision so far. It is totally worth the extra money. And then I did have to fill up my gas twice, which is really weird and kind of sucks for such a short month that that was where I had to fill up twice, but it is what it is. And the last thing, I bought a jumper pack for my car. So when it gets really cold outside, sometimes my car will doesn't it kind of struggles to start. Like it still starts just fine, but it takes like, an extra split second. And it was really starting to freak me out. So I just went ahead and bought a jumper pack. That was $100. If you have issues with your car like that, I highly recommend a jumper pack. I ended up using one last year, but I guess it just completely died out because it's not working anymore. But yeah, so I definitely recommend that if that's something you think you might need. So that's cool that what I was under budget for transportation, like where I was over budget on the last two categories, it more than evened out. So that's pretty cool. But let's look at the rest of them. All right, health and personal care, I was actually under as well. I budgeted 300. I spent 268, so I was about $30 under. Health and personal care, so that does include my gym payment every month. It's like $45 plus tax. And then I did have to buy some extra magnesium. I had to buy like 2 bottles of magnesium, so that was a chunk of that. Oh, and it does include my health insurance payment. So between all of that, 268. So that's not bad considering it includes the health insurance payment for the whole family. It's 130 a month. So I'm really lucky to have such a low cost on that health insurance. That's probably one of the best things about the company that I work for. They have a really good insurance plan. Child, so I was actually surprised that I ended up under budget for child as well. I budgeted 250 and spent 178. So I was $70 under budget. And I did have to buy her quite a few things. So she just finished up basketball and they had their basketball pictures. That wasn't much, so that was like 20 bucks. I bought her a few books because they had the Scholastic book, not the book fair, but like an order form you just do through the classroom. So I got her a couple books and then she needed more uniform pants for school. So you know what? That's oh, I did have, a daycare payment for a couple days where she was off school, and yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, I guess I didn't spend that much on her, that makes sense. And then pet care, I was also under budget. So Pixel, she did have a vet emergency last year, actually 2 of them involving bathroom habits. So I'm trying to get her to eat wet food because it's a little easier on her digestive system to have the wet food versus the dry food. But she doesn't like it, like, at all. I think a lot of cats are the complete opposite, but I am giving her a supplement, like a fiber supplement with it, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's so weird. It's kinda nice that she likes the dry food because it's way cheaper, but I don't want her to have another vet emergency. So, I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do there, but that's part of why it was so much cheaper because I didn't have to buy her as much wet food. Work and business, I did go a little bit over, so I spent 75 when I budgeted 30, so that's about $45 over, but I did buy this new mic, so hopefully the sound is a bit better because I know my last mic, didn't sound all that great. Okay, and then the big thing that I was curious about is discretionary. So discretionary, I budgeted 200. I only spent 140 on discretionary. So I was so excited to see that I didn't spend that much. I was $60 under budget. I had some a leftover payment for my Macy's bill, from when I bought I think it was when I bought my bookshelf. I don't think I bought any clothes from there recently. Oh, I did buy some sheets for the new mattress that I got. So maybe it was that. But anyway, either way, I had a little bit of extra money to pay on my Macy's bill, so that was part of that. And then I did buy a few books at the beginning of February, but I'm done buying books for now, I think. Maybe, audiobooks might be the only thing I would buy as far as books, but I have so many physical books, and most of the time I read on Audible or my Kindle anyway, so it's not like it's not like I need that many physical books. So yeah, I spent about $30 on physical books, and then I think I did buy 2 audiobooks that was like $10 or something. And surprisingly, miscellaneous, I budgeted 80, I spent $0 on miscellaneous. So that's cool. Usually miscellaneous is like my cell phone bill, which I paid for a full year already, so that's not gonna come up. And then laundry, I will put under there, but I have plenty of laundry money right now, so I'm good. But so the full difference between what I expected versus what I budgeted versus what I spent, I was $300 under budget. So you would think I would have been able to save a lot more, but the thing is, with that big car insurance payment, that was like basically it was literally an entire paycheck. So I did have to pull a little bit from savings, although not that much. But I will pay that back with my tax return. And I think I only had to pull like $200 from savings just because I spent so little this month. So that was really nice. And then speaking of savings, so I had wanted to save $150. I ended up only saving 80, and then also pulling a couple $100 from savings as well. Investing, I'm not doing any of that right now. And then retirement, I budgeted to save 650. I ended up saving 703. And like I said, retirement savings is all on automated based on my paycheck. So that's more of me just guessing how much is going to come out of my paycheck. And then student loans, I really wanted to pay a lot more on student loans, but because that car payment, I was only able to spend, to put 270 towards my loans when I wanted to do at least 650. But that's not that big of a deal because at least I was still able to save something, or not save, but, pay towards something. So overall, I'm super happy with my March numbers and especially having that insurance payment, like, and especially the fact that it covers a year. It's so nice. Like, it was so nice to have such a good month, especially after having a few where I spent way too much. So anyway, with that, oh my heart just dropped. I totally thought that I forgot to hit record for a minute. Oh my God. Okay. I'm good. I hit record. Okay, so let's look at my plans for March. Okay, so for March, um, I am really gonna try to spend as little as possible in March, and I think I can accomplish it because much like I think it's gonna be very similar to February, and I won't have the extra money for, like, my car stuff and that sort of thing. For groceries, this is where it's kind of annoying having a mic that I'm holding because I'm gonna have to be tapping on my iPad. But anyway, groceries, where I did go over a bit, I'm kind of thinking I'll be okay for March. I'm just gonna leave it at 675. Household, I'm just gonna leave it at 300 because I did go over last month, so just to make sure I don't go over again. Transportation is gonna be way less, so I will have my Easy Pass, amount and my gas, and I think that is it. So I'm actually just gonna do 100 and see what happens there. Health and personal care. So I always at least have my health insurance plus my gym payment, and that's gonna be like 175 right there. So it's just whatever extra I wanna put on there. So I'm gonna do 230. So just a little bit extra beyond the insurance and the gym payment. Child, so my daughter is actually starting softball soon, and we're gonna have to pay quite a bit as far as getting her equipment for softball. So I am new to all the sports stuff. I was never a sports kid, and even now I'm really not a sports person, but she is very physically active and loves sports, and so I'm trying to get her to try out all these different sports. But basketball was so easy. I just paid one payment, she went to practice, got her ball and her t-shirt, and she was good to go. But for softball, I think the only thing they provide is the shirt. She has to buy her helmet, her bat, her cleats, her pants, like special pants and everything. So we have all this stuff to spend. Although my husband mentioned that he would probably pay for that stuff. So I don't know if I need to consider that or not. And another thing is that her uniform pants for school are actually a little small, so I kind of need to buy more of those too. I'm gonna make it a little bit lower. I'm gonna put 150, just because of her clothes. And then with the warm weather coming up, I'm sure she's probably gonna need warm weather clothes, but I think I can wait just a little bit longer on those. Maybe do that for April or something, May. Work and business. Oh, I see part of the problem. Okay, work and business. I did cancel I forgot to go over subscriptions, but they're the same every month. I did end up canceling, Adobe Acrobat, and I can find, like, free versions for what I need, but I did cancel that, so that's gonna be a little bit less. Oh, one thing I did forget about? So I'm gonna be filing my taxes soon, and I do have to buy, TurboTax for small business, and that is a good chunk of money. So for work and business, I'm actually going to put 150. Um, Gosh, is that even enough? I have no idea how much they're charging for that right now because it's usually I don't even know. Um, I'm just gonna put 150 and go from there. So that'll cover the taxes and then if I need something else. Discretionary, I'm just gonna leave that at 200 again. because I'm not planning on buying anything. I think the next big thing I'm gonna need is soil for when I start my garden again, but it's a little bit early to start the garden. It's probably gonna be next month. I gotta check the dates on all that. But yeah, I'll leave it at 200, and then miscellaneous, 80 seems kinda high now for miscellaneous, especially with not having my phone on there, and then I have a lot of laundry money. I'm going to make that 40. So, okay, and then let's take a look at savings. Savings, I'm gonna leave at 120. Retirement, I always just leave at 650 since it's kinda automatic anyway. Student loans, I would love to pay more on student loans. Some of that depends on my tax return, so it's hard to know exactly how much, but I'm gonna bump that up to 800 and see if I can do that. I would love to do more, but yeah, let's see what we can do there. I will just kind of play it by ear because I am still getting used to this new budget that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm very happy with where things are right now. But are any of you doing a complete no buy month, no buy year? Usually it's a little easier to do a no buy within the first like 3 months of the year. Let me know what you're doing. For me, I'm just sticking to my normal low buy with leaving a little bit of discretionary spending in there in case I need something or want something rather. But, yeah, just drop me a comment, a like, subscribe if you like these kind of videos because I do one of these every month, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.